Welcome back to KMM Tech. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. I was just in my bathroom and I went to walk in, and the light was supposed to turn on, and it didn't. And I thought it'd be kind of neat just to show you how I go about troubleshooting this sort of thing. To just kind of help you try and troubleshoot rules and figure out what's going on. So I'm going to open up a few things. So here's one thing that is going on. I'm going to go back to my devices over here, and we're going to do, so the first thing I do is I try to step back and say, okay, what's the initial thing that's supposed to happen? So the initial thing that's supposed to happen is that when I walk into the bathroom, the motion sensor is supposed to sense light. Once it senses, sense motion. Once it senses motion, it then turns on the switch. So the first thing in this chain of events is the motion sensor. So here is my motion sensor. Now, before we do that, I'm just going to scroll up to the top. So one of the nice things is that in this this list here, you'll see over here is last activity. This shows you the last activity that was recorded by your Hubitat. So in this case, if you look at my my sensor here, this GB motion sensor, you'll see that it had motion last sensed at 11:22. On October 14th, and it is now 11:23. The motion sensor is actually sitting right next to me. I took it down off the wall to kind of troubleshoot some things. So I'm going to do something even a little bit further than that. I'm going to go into the actual motion sensor device tab here, and you'll see that it says motion inactive. I'm going to move and see if it actually senses motion. So that's the first step. So I moved. You'll see that it sensed action right away. Okay, that's a good thing. So the next thing I want to do is I want to see, okay, well, the switch that's supposed to be turned on, is the switch actually communicating with Hubitat? So I'm going to go to the tab that I have for this switch. You'll see that currently the switch is on. I'm going to switch it off, and it reports the status. So I know that this switch is working. If I go back to my device list, you'll see that the guest bathroom switch was last active 11:24, which is the current time. So I know that this is just turned on and off. Hubitat is communicating with this switch as well. Okay, so the next thing I have to do is say, okay, so now I have this motion sensor and I have this switch. I know that they're both communicating. So what's the next step in the chain of events? So the next step in the chain of events is there's this rule that says, okay, if there's motion, then it's going to then turn on this this switch. So now I have to say, okay, let's look at this rule and see if we can figure out why this rule is not working properly. So let's go to let's just go to apps. I'll open this in a new tab, I guess. Why not? So actually, before we do that, let me go back a second. So one of the neat things that you can do, so in this case, my motion sensor here, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that there is this in use by area. This shows you all of the rules or apps or whatever that is associated with this particular motion sensor. So in this case, I can just click on this right here, and this will open up the rule that is in question. So, okay, so let's look at this rule. This is a basic lighting rule, a motion lighting rule rather. So it says, okay, the motion sensor is the guest bathroom motion sensor. That makes sense. It says, okay, switches per mode. So the guest bathroom is the switch that's in question here. So that's what the switch that's going to be turned on, and that the mode needs to be either arrival, home, or no bathroom motion. So the next step is, okay, now I need to look at my mode. So let's look at our mode. So I'm going to bring up my dashboard because I have a modes switch on the on my dashboard. And if you look at the bottom left hand corner, this is my modes tab. You'll see that my mode is currently a mode called meds. So if I look back here at my my rule, meds is not one of the modes that is going to cause this rule to fire correctly. So if I go here and switch this to home, Now if I go back to my guest bath light, let's just save this. And let me look at my guest bathroom. Let's make sure this light is turned off. It is. I'm trying to stay very still. Okay, so now you see that the motion is inactive. My switch is off. So now I'm going to load my logs page. And I am going to give this motion sensor some motion. So what should happen is it should say that the guest bathroom is active and that the guest bathroom has turned on, because now my mode is in the correct mode. I've changed that wherever my dashboard is. Here's my dashboard. You see that the mode is now home. So now I'm going to move. All right, guest bathroom motion sensor is active. Guest bath was turned on. So let's go to the guest bath switch. There it is. It is turned on. It was off before. So now my next step is, okay, now I have this weird meds mode that was on when it shouldn't have been on. So now I have to figure out why this is happening. So I don't remember if I have fixed this, but I'll show you what happened. So I created this rule recently. So every night at between 9 and 11:30, I have a rule that says, okay, if I open the sliding glass door to let my dogs out, when there's motion in the master bedroom, to turn on the master bedroom light and the master bedroom bath light. So I have this rule over here. Good, I didn't fix it. So let's just hit done with conditions, and then let's go done with actions. So here's the rule. So when the sliding glass door is open, if the time is between 9 a.m. and 11:59, then it's going to switch this mode to meds. So what's been happening is every time I open the sliding glass door between the times of 9 a.m. and 11:59, it was switching over to this mode called meds, which was causing my bathroom light to not work properly. The reason it's not working properly is because I have the wrong time here. So in this case, I happen to know what rule was caused. So this you have to kind of figure out. I wish there were a way. I don't see a way in Hubitat yet, kind of like with the devices where you can see what devices, what rules the device are part of. There's no way to see that with modes. So I happen to know that I just created this fairly recently. So I knew what rule it was. So what I need to do is I need to change this condition, because it says 9 a.m. It should say 9 p.m. So I'm going to hit this right here, and we're going to manage my conditions, edit condition, and it's this one that right here that we want to edit. Time of day, we're just going to change this to p.m. And that will fix my problem. Now, what was causing my problem for that door, the light to not turn on, was actually this rule over here causing a mode to change. So this just kind of shows you that just because you have something working and it makes sense in your head, there might be some other rule that is out there causing all sorts of chaos that you either forgot about or, in my case, set incorrectly, causing things not to work. So here we have now the rule is set correctly. If the time is between 9 p.m. and 11:59 p.m. And the sliding glass door opens, it's going to switch the mode to the mode called meds. So now I can hit done. And now my bathroom light should work. So just to kind of recap. So what happened was I went to the bathroom, the light did not turn on. So the first thing I did was I went to the actual device first, made sure that I could have Hubitat see the device. Then I said, okay, the next step is the switch. So I went to the switch, made sure that the Hubitat can see the switch. Remember that on the devices page, there's this column over here that tells you the last activity. Okay, so if you didn't want to go into that amount of detail, you could have gone and just looked in here. But I wanted to see the actual thing change and all that sort of stuff. So I checked my switch, I checked the motion sensor. The next thing I did was I had to go in and check the rule that was associated with the motion sensor. If you know what that rule is, you can go right to it. In this case, I went to the motion sensor, scrolled all the way down to the bottom, and hit the in use by rule, and I checked my restrictions, and I noticed that I had the wrong mode selected. Then I had to go through and figure out what rule was causing that mode to change. So then I found that rule, changed the appropriate time, and fixed my issue. Kind of a long one, kind of a confusing one. I know it's kind of a weird one. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask them in the comments below. Make sure that you subscribe and hit that bell notification so that you're notified when new videos come out. And if you like what we're doing here, please give us all the support we can. Share this video around, and I hope to help you guys more in the future. And that's it for today. I'll see you guys next time. See ya.